There. That. Okay, I'm gonna try and do this in 4 minutes. I don't think it's possible to do it in 4 minutes, but I'm gonna try. What are these questions? Hi, my name is Rowan. I live in Providence, Rhode Island. I am an Enneagram Type 5. My instinctual subtype and tri-type are things that I am not sure are meaningful constructs. I'm not sure they have a meaningful interpersonal description associated with them that reliably differentiates anything that is psychologically important. I have seldom been convinced of this from the time that I have started actually studying the Enneagram, and it is a personal viewpoint. Nonetheless, I think that it's probably required to give sort of a guess into these constructs for this video, because it may very well be what the purpose of the video is about, because David and Catherine do a ton of work on instincts and tri-types. So if I were to guess, I would say that I am probably the social subtype, maybe the one-on-one subtype, and the tri-type might be 584 or 583 or something like that, probably with 8 in it. Other people don't agree, but I don't care. Nor do I care about this construct in general very much. 5 adjectives. I pick the adjectives intellectual, cynical, indolent, self-assertive, and cerebral. My greatest strength is an interesting question, and my response to that is that I have a sort of inner self-confidence about my intellectual and ratiocinative abilities. I have sort of a reservoir of internal knowing, which I think is kind of common for what is described as the sort of holy idea of Type 5, of a sort of inner knowing and inner truth that you can draw upon about your abilities to do anything, particularly intellectual, your sense of knowing rather than your sense of actually doing. Although to some extent it can apply to the other one as well. The greatest weakness builds upon that maybe to some extent. I sort of think that there are two parts to two major weaknesses of my personality. One of them is that I have a tendency to sort of piss people off. I can be incredibly stubborn and in some contexts quite vindictive, and rarely I'm not an accommodating person, nor do I tend to change my lifestyle to accommodate people's needs, and I often have a tendency to offend others unintentionally or unwittingly, and without apologizing for my actions or my judgments of other people, because there is no reason for me to do so. The other basic weakness is in some sense perhaps similar and related, which is that I'm not really a people person. I have had for some time a fundamental difficulty in actually initiating contact with people socially, or getting to know them and build meaningful relationships with them. One pattern in my life for many years was that I had sort of a fear of encroaching on other people's space or interests, and I had this idea that the activities that other people wanted to do were not the same ones that I wanted to do, so I would just leave them alone and not force myself upon them. And this is a theme that is to some extent still one that I'm working through in my own life, although I'm a lot more sociable, I think, now than I used to be. How did I know I was a 5? I knew it basically by default. I took some online tests before I knew what the hell I was doing, and I talked to some random people on the internet, and they all said I was a 5. And then sometime later, like last year or 2 years ago or something, I went to the New York City Enneagram meetup group. I had already been doing a lot of other stuff in personality that was only vaguely related to the Enneagram, and the guy who was running that agreed sort of instinctively that I was a 5. And I read a bunch of Rice Hudson material that was actually before that completely clicked in terms of the strategies that 5 used and things that were relevant, and obviously so, to my lifestyle. I am motivated by two things sort of in my present phase of life. One of them is sort of engaging myself, especially socially, and having things to do socially. The other thing is acquiring more knowledge. I study computer science and psychology. I am an undergraduate, and I supplement this with as many different disciplines worth of stuff that I can fit in. I study psychology in addition to neuroscience, which is quite related, and personality, and I also study computer science and to some extent delve into a little bit of machine learning related stuff from that discipline. And I also do this crazy stuff on the internet. So basically I have a really multidisciplinary perspective on understanding what personality is and what a lot of other fields of psychology are. And knowing my type has helped me in indescribably many ways. Typology has given me an incredible amount of self-knowledge and self-confidence, and has consistently and recurrently informed, though I don't think controlled, my views on all of my studies of psychology and neuroscience and human interaction and life, which is sort of what psychology and neuroscience are really about, if you think about it in a very, very broadly based way. I would say that in relationships it has not played a substantial role, though I don't think that like the degree of self-confidence it has given me is a substantial factor in this regard as well, though not quite related to, not a directly causal factor.